Now that I think about it, 2006 was 10 years ago. This book is 10 years old! Hey Colin, so the other day you briefly talked about the series of unfortunate events and how it is getting a new series on Netflix, and it's going to have Neil Patrick Harris, and you're really excited. I am also really excited. I was a big fan of the books just like you were, and I'd like to elaborate a little bit more on what you were talking about as far as the show, the books, everything, really. Before we talk about the Netflix original show, I would like to talk about the books. These books are kind of short. They're actually more of children's books, but, you know, I was a kid when they came out, so I really enjoyed them, and obviously so did Colin. Colin mentioned that he really liked the first 4 books, and during the middle he kind of fell short on it, and then he liked the end. And I think I have a theory as to why that was, that he liked 4 and then kind of split off and didn't like these, and then kind of came back at the end. So there are 13 books in this series, and if you're counting the books, I don't have all 13. I know that I'm missing 2, and for some reason I couldn't find book number 1. I know I have it somewhere, but regardless, there are 13 books, and every 4 books, the story changes a little bit. So I'm going to set these down. So for the first 4, obviously I said I'm missing the first book, and one of the ones I'm missing is number 4, so I have 2 and 3 right here. In this set of 4, the orphans are moving to different relatives and living with them to try to find a new suitable home, which obviously Count Olaf is trying to ruin. That way he can have the kids to himself and inherit the fortune. So then for the next 4 books, the story changes slightly. They're still moving to different relatives or different homes to be cared for, but they meet a group of kids in, nope, that's the 7th one. They meet another group of kids in this book, and they're the triplets. I forget what they're called. They call them their last name, then triplets. I don't remember what they are. But they also have a fortune, and Count Olaf finds out about this and decides, hey, 2 fortunes is better than 1, and he kidnaps these kids. So for the next 3-4 books, the Baudelaire, is that how you say it? Baudelaire orphans are trying to save this other group, the triplets, from Count Olaf's crutches, while also, you know, trying to find a suitable home. Now for this next set of 4, I'm actually missing number 9, but for this set, the orphans are no longer looking for people to live with, and they're just kind of doing stuff on their own now. They're growing up a little bit, so they can actually figure out what they want to do for themselves. And, you know, it's been so long since I read these, I'm trying to remember exactly what goes on, but I believe that they're chasing after Count Olaf, and it's not so much about them trying to find a home anymore. At least that's how it goes for these 4 books. Finally, in the end, the 13th book, it's the only one that's like it. It's because they've actually found their own home. They've actually made their own place, and Count Olaf is no longer a threat to them, and it's them figuring that out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm trying not to go to any details with these books in case you haven't read them, and I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but that's basically it about how the dynamic of the story kind of changes slightly over the course of the 12 or 13 books. Now, before I move on, one last thing about the books. I know this is number 2, but the first book came out in 1999, and the 13th book came out in 2006. So this series is actually pretty old. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do to kind of up it to our modern times here in 2016, which, now that I think about it, 2006 was 10 years ago. This book is 10 years old! A little extra for you guys, this book actually came out on Friday the 13th. So moving on from the books, let's talk about the movie that came out that was based on the first 3 installments of the series. I personally hated this movie. Don't get me wrong, it was a good movie, movie-wise, but for them to cram all 3 of these books into one movie, it just, I don't think they did it right. And that's one reason why I'm really excited for the Netflix series, because, you know, it's a series, they can space it out as much as they want and cover all the information that they need to in one season or, 2 seasons. I don't know how they're going to set it up. Not a lot of information has been announced on it, but more on that in a bit. So this movie with Jim Carrey as Count Olaf, I didn't really like. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I really didn't like it due to the fact that it threw all 3 books into one, and the way they changed so much stuff, I didn't like it. One of the biggest things that I didn't like about this movie is that they took the ending of the first book and put it at the end of the movie, after the 3rd book. Now, that's the big thing that really bothers me. There's plenty of other stuff, but I don't want to turn this into a rant video, so let's move on to what I'm hopeful for, the Netflix series. So, not much is actually known about this Netflix series, how they're going to break it up, if it's going to be like 1 book for a season, if they're going to do like 1 episode for 1 book, or whatever. I don't really know. What I'm hoping is that it's 1 book for a season, although that will be really long for 1 book. I kind of feel like it would be really good if they kind of did 1 episode for book, if they set it up like Sherlock. And Sherlock's episodes were like 2 hours long. And I mean, it worked for that show, and I think it'll work very well for this series. I feel like that 2 hour, hour and a half time slot for each episode would work really well to fit 1 entire book in, except for maybe the last couple books where they get a little bit longer. For instance, 13 is a little bit more beefy than number 2. It's quite a bit of size difference there. So maybe the last 1 or the last 3 would be 2 episodes, but I think that would be a good way to do it. But that is all just my opinion, so let's move on to some stuff that we actually do know. Like I said, there is not much information on this show. I'm actually going to jump over to my computer so I can look at a couple things with you guys. Okay, so I'm on the IMDb website, and hopefully it is appearing on the screen for you guys right about now. We are going to take a look at what little information that this website has on this show and see if we can, figure anything out. So right now, the only thing on here is episode 1, which equals 1.1, I guess. I don't know what that means, but all we've got is S1E1, which is season 1, episode 1, and it's titled 1.1. Now, does that mean it's chapter 1 of the first book? I have no idea. What I think is important to point out here is that right here it says it's coming out in August 2016. So we'll be seeing that later this year, and that'll be super cool. But the one problem I have with this coming out in August is that they don't even have a full cast yet. So considering that it's April and August is like 8 months away, are they going to have enough time to finish getting the cast and record all of season 1? Unless they're just going to do 1 episode, 1 big episode like Sherlock, like I said. But again, I don't know. And I don't know how filmmaking works. I don't know how long it takes to make a season of a show. But I feel like they're cutting their time a little short here. So now looking at the cast and crew, we've got a couple of characters lined up. One that Colin mentioned last week was that Neil Patrick Harris is going to be playing Count Olaf. That's going to be super cool. And we do have someone playing Violet. I don't know who this is. Milena Westman. Let's click on her. Let's see who she is. Known for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Supergirl, Thirsty, and... Oh, and Thirsty. I read that wrong. Okay, so that's who she is. So aside from this girl, we do have someone playing Klaus. This is Lewis Haynes. He doesn't have a picture. I have no idea who he is. I'm going to click on his name really quick. He's an actor known for Series of Unfortunate Events. So it looks like he's a brand new actor, that this is going to be the first thing that he's appearing in. Which is kind of cool that they're bringing in actually some new people into this project, and they're not just already established people. Alright, that'll be interesting to see. One thing that worries me about this is, as you can see on this list, everybody is listed for episode 1, and we obviously have Neil Patrick Harris playing Count Olaf, but we also have this guy. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. I recognize his face, though. He is playing Uncle Monty, and Uncle Monty is in book 2. But if he's appearing in episode 1, how the hell are they going to pull this off? Are they going to jam books 1 and 2 into one episode? Like, I don't know. Maybe IMDb just has him on there because he's part of the cast, and since the series isn't out yet and nothing's like really has any information, they just threw everything just saying episode 1. That could be too. We don't really know, but this is all we have for the cast, just these 6 people. So yeah, that's all there really is on that, and that's all I've really got to say for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. I kind of mentioned that I kind of hate the movie and I didn't want to rant about it, but if you guys want to see me rant about it, let me know in the comments. I'm totally willing to put that video out for you guys, only if you guys request it though. Check out some of our I can't even speak. Just hit the buttons, you know what to do. See ya.